The night was still. The air hung heavy over the Soviet town of Pripyat, a place built for dreams, for progress, for the future. Families slept quietly in their small apartments, the hum of the nearby nuclear power plant echoing faintly through the darkness. To them, it was the sound of pride, the heartbeat of a nation that promised strength and modernity. But on this night, April 26, 1986, that heartbeat would stop, and the world would never be the same again. Inside Chernobyl's Reactor No. 4, a safety test was underway, a routine experiment to check what would happen if the plant lost power. The engineers were exhausted, the control room filled with tension and confusion. Orders were changed, decisions reversed, warnings ignored. The reactor, unstable and unpredictable, was pushed beyond its limits. Then, at 1:23 a.m., the impossible happened. A sudden surge of power, uncontrollable, violent and silent, built deep inside the core. One engineer barely had time to whisper, "What's happening?" And then, boom! A thunderous explosion tore through the night. Concrete shattered, steel bent like paper. A fireball shot hundreds of feet into the sky, and in an instant, the roof of the reactor was gone, exposing the heart of the beast. The blue light of ionized air rose above the plant, a strange, beautiful glow, the kind of light no human should ever see. It wasn't fire. It was death, invisible, silent, unstoppable. Firefighters were the first to arrive. Ordinary men. No special suits, no warning. They thought it was just another fire. They grabbed their hoses and ran into the glowing wreckage. But what they faced wasn't heat. It was radiation, billions of invisible bullets tearing through their bodies. They worked for hours, climbing the roof of the burning plant, stepping on pieces of radioactive graphite glowing red like coals. Their hands burned, their faces blistered, their eyes filled with pain. Still, they fought, because that's what they were trained to do. They were heroes who didn't yet know they were already dying. Back in Pripyat, the people saw the fire from their balconies. A strange blue light flickered over the horizon. Children pointed and laughed, thinking it was fireworks. Parents watched, unaware that the gentle breeze carried death, radioactive dust drifting silently through the air. In the morning, life went on. Workers went to their jobs, students walked to school. The sky was bright, the air smelled faintly metallic, strange, but no one knew why. Some even went to watch from the bridge, a bridge that would later be called the Bridge of Death. None of them survived. For 36 long hours, there was no warning. The government stayed silent. Doctors were forbidden to speak. Even local officials were told to stay calm. Everything is under control, they said. But everything was falling apart. By the time the order came to evacuate, it was already too late. Buses lined the streets. Soldiers handed out iodine pills and masks. People were told to leave quickly, just for a few days, they said. So they packed light, some clothes, a photo album, a favorite toy. They didn't know they were leaving their lives behind forever. The sound of buses filled the air as Pripyat emptied. Windows closed, doors locked, a city turned to silence. Within hours, it was a ghost town. Dogs barked in the distance, their owners gone. Laundry still hung from balconies. Clocks still ticked, but time had stopped. The Soviet government tried to hide the truth. They said it was a small accident, under control. But radiation doesn't obey borders. Within days, radioactive clouds drifted over Europe, Sweden, Finland, Poland, even as far as France. The world began to ask questions, and the truth finally started to surface. Thousands of men, firefighters, soldiers, miners, were sent to contain the disaster. They were called liquidators. They dug tunnels beneath the reactor, built walls, shoveled radioactive debris with their bare hands. They climbed the roofs to remove burning graphite, each man given only 90 seconds before the radiation could kill them. They knew the risk, but they did it anyway. Their courage saved millions, but many of them never lived to tell their stories. The explosion released 400 times more radiation than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Forests nearby turned a sickly red, forever known as the Red Forest. Animals vanished, rivers carried poison, and rain spread contamination across continents. Years later, the reactor was sealed beneath a massive steel structure, a tomb built to hold the fire that would burn for thousands of years. But the damage was already done. More than 300,000 people were displaced. Generations would suffer from cancers, birth defects, and illness, the invisible scars of that night. Today, Pripyat stands frozen in time. Ferris wheels rust in silence. Classrooms lie abandoned, covered in dust. Gas masks and dolls rest side by side, the remains of a life interrupted. Nature has crept back, trees breaking through concrete, animals wandering freely through empty streets. It looks peaceful, but the silence is heavy. Every building, every shadow, still whispers the same haunting truth. This should never have happened. Chernobyl wasn't just a failure of science, it was a failure of humanity. A story of pride, secrecy, and silence that killed thousands and warned millions. It reminded the world that technology without honesty can destroy everything we hold dear. And though the wind has long since carried away the ashes, the memory remains. It lingers in the soil, in the air, in the hearts of those who remember. Because on that night in 1986, for the first time in history, the sky itself turned against us, the day the sky turned poison.